Our viewers will be well aware of the fact that just when you believe you have reached the lowest point of human sorrow, there is always another story that causes you to contemplate the very essence of humanity. Every horrifying incident that we describe seems to mark the bench, and then something else occurs. It seems that this happens rather frequently. The case of Amarjeet Sada is a narrative that is so upsetting that you will have a hard time believing it. Streaming platforms have rapidly discovered that true crime brings hits, and the same truth is applied in other forms of material, including podcasts and YouTube channels. As far as serial killers are concerned, we have been inundated with their stories. This has occurred through streaming platforms. Another serial killer is investigated in the following case study. However, this time, the perpetrator has the appearance of a youngster. As we answer the question, where is Amarjeet Sada now? We want to warn readers that the following answers contain content that may be upsetting. It was explained by the youngest serial killer in the world. The name Amarjeet Sada, which was previously notorious and is now etched in the annals of criminal history, continues to be a terrible specter as of the year 2023. As he enters his early 20s, he ventures out into the world under the cover of a new identity, but he is destined to remain in the shadows forever. Who exactly is this Amarjeet Sada? In Bihar, which is located in eastern India, Amarjeet was brought up in an underprivileged family. According to all accounts, Amarjeet was a typical youngster, albeit a bit of a loner. He had a tendency to keep himself to himself and did not engage in play with the other children in the village who were 7 years old. On the other hand, it would not be long before the boy would be presented with an opportunity which would ultimately result in frightening and unimaginable occurrences that the world had never witnessed before. Is it known what Amarjeet Sada did? In 2006, the child's aunt would pay a visit, and she would bring her daughter, who was 6 years old at the time. Amarjeet would be left alone with his cousin, and the 7-year-old would begin hitting the little child before strangling her, dragging her to the nearby woods, and viciously hitting her with a brick before burying her deceased body. Amarjeet would then be left alone with his cousin. In a shocking turn of events, the young child would admit to his crime, and even more horrifyingly, his family would cover up the murder by not reporting what he had done. Amarjeet would go on to do another heinous act, not even a year later, when he would kill his own sister. This incredible lack of judgment would lead to this tragic event. Following the removal of the infant from her cot, the young murderer would proceed to suffocate the child to death. It was inevitable that his mother would learn about the heinous deed, and the depraved Amarjeet would eventually confess to the actions he had committed. Despite the fact that the parents would ask their neighbors not to report the heinous and revolting crime to the authorities, the neighbors would become aware of the atrocity. It will be hard for any of us who read this narrative to comprehend the reasoning that went into the decisions that were made. However, it goes without saying that the unwillingness to hand over Amarjeet to the authorities would result in a third murder. The youngster who committed the murder would go on to claim a third victim, another infant, a baby girl named Chushbu, who was 6 months old. Amarjeet, who was 9 years old at the time, would see the youngster at the local school while they were in a baby stroller. The scenes were reminiscent of the scariest horror movies. The mother of the kid left the infant in the stroller on the assumption that she would be protected on the premises of the school. Amarjeet would be hauled to the police by witnesses who claimed to have seen him with the infant, and he would be questioned by the authorities. His admission that he had killed the newborn by striking her, strangling her, and then burying her was made with a careless disregard for the consequences. The lack of emotion and controlled demeanor that the child murderer displayed as he brought the officers to the improvised cemetery where he had buried the innocent baby would leave the officers unable to find language to express their feelings. At this moment, where is Amarjeet Sada? After being committed to a home for minors, Amarjeet was placed in solitary confinement. According to Indian law, a youngster cannot be sent to prison, which means that he is exempt from the typical procedures and sentences that would be given down to older killers. Amarjeet would have been held in custody until he turned 18 years old. But, according to some stories, he was only 16 years old when he was released. It is unknown what Amarjeet Sada's new name is. Upon his release, Amarjeet will have been given a new identity, and precautionary measures will have been taken to ensure that he cannot be located or traced in any way. Subscribe to our channel for further videos. Also share this video and hit that like button. Thanks for watching.